Right now at 10, the city of Middleton is creating a new plan for its airport. We'll tell you why some residents are not happy about it.
And a second accuser takes the stand in the second day of the Quintez Cephas trial. We will head back inside the courtroom straight ahead.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 10.
Thank you so much for joining us. Future plans for the airport in Middleton are concerning some people who live nearby.
They think the city is planning an expansion that could impact their lives and their property. Amy Reed joins us now with what the city is doing and why residents are worried.
A few months back, we told you about Middleton beginning exploration for a master plan for the airport. Now that process has gotten started, people are concerned the city already knows what it wants, despite residents wanting things to stay the same. Right next to Maury Field, Steve Ziegler's flowers bloom. He's lived here for decades, and he doesn't want to see that change.
At this point, if it's expanded, it would have a serious impact on this neighborhood.
He says if the master plan for the neighboring airport includes an expansion, he and his neighbors could lose their homes.
It's not like there's extra city land available here. This is like land taking of people that do not want their land taken, whether it's farmers or residences or whatever, in those two townships having no choice because eventually it comes under an eminent domain.
The airport manager says right now it's too early to say whether that would happen. Richard Morey says the master plan lays out options, not guarantees, though the city is looking into requests they say they've gotten, like increased hangar space and a 1,000-foot addition to the runway. They say those plans would still require many additional steps on the local, state, and federal levels, even if they're in the master plan. We spoke to Morey over the phone.
Be it at 500 feet or 1,000 feet or no feet, we don't have any idea.
We've also been told as citizens that nothing's set, and that's become sort of a mantra for the city.
Leslie Hayner, who runs a neighborhood group to educate people on the master plan, has also been keeping watch on the process. And she said there's evidence to suggest the city and airport have been planning longer than they say.
So I think there are a number of data points there historically in this process that show that they've been ramping up for this for quite some time. And so that leads the citizenry to believe that maybe there's a lack of transparency.
She said the majority of the people she's surveyed don't want the airport to change from how it is now, and she wants the city and airport to recognize that.
No one wants to see the airport go away. No one wants to see it negatively impacted. But we do feel like this airport is at a tipping point.
Morey said he wants the airport to continue to be an asset in the community he grew up in.
I love the city. I love the airport as well. I want it to be a good fit for the community.
And this group says the way to do that is to stay as it is now.
4,000 feet is plenty big enough to bring in a lot of planes.
The airport and city both say they want to keep the spirit of the airport through this master planning process. Now, the process has been stalled, but they hope to pick it back up in September. That will bring with it more opportunities for public feedback.
Law enforcement in Missouri say they have found human remains in the search for two missing Wisconsin brothers. Sheriff Larry Fish of Clinton County Sheriff's Office.
This is still an active investigation, and the human remains have not been identified at this time. Investigators are still working with Frontier forensic doctors to determine what took place.
Authorities have been searching on a farm near Bramer, Missouri for 35-year-old Nicholas Demmel and his 24-year-old brother Justin, who have been missing since July 21st. The sheriff says the remains were found on that farm yesterday, which is the last place the brothers were seen. No cause of death has been determined, and police say it is still an active death investigation.
Two brothers in the Fox Valley are hoping to do their part to help the Demmel family. Chad and Brian Duncan own Grain Works in Hortonville. They are auctioning off a whiskey barrel patio table on their Facebook page, with the proceeds going to that family. Now, the brothers had known one of the missing men since they were teenagers. Another Fox Valley company is embroidering apparel with a special logo for the brothers. A friend designed it just days after they disappeared. Hats, t-shirts, bracelets, can koozies, and window decals will be available through the weekend, with all of the proceeds also going to the Demmel family.
The sexual assault trial of former Badger football player Quintez Cephas will continue tomorrow, and we are expecting to hear from his former teammate Danny Davis sometime this week. Cephas faces 2 felony sexual assault charges connected to an alleged incident in April 2018. His second accuser took the stand today and said she remembers very little about that night and was too intoxicated to consent. But Cephas's lawyers argue that is not the case, pointing to her ability to find an Uber and get back to her dorm room. They also questioned the woman about a short text conversation she later had with Cephas, where she used heart and kissy face emojis and asked him if he found her vaping device called a Juul.
When you look at these messages, do they look friendly?
No. They just seem like I wanted my Juul back.
2 nurses who examined the 2 alleged victims also testified today, as well as a toxicologist and several other witnesses.
A Janesville man will spend the next 15 years in prison after killing a second person while driving under the influence. Nathan Leopold was given the maximum sentence after causing the crash that killed 70-year-old David Leck back in 2017. Now, Leopold had already served time for a 2002 hit and run that killed a 28-year-old woman. Records show he was under the influence both times during both of those crashes. New tonight, we are hearing from Leck's family outside of the courtroom. They say the punishment will help them move forward, but they would like to see more done to prevent repeat offenders like Leopold.
I think that would be the nice next step, is to try to work toward making it stronger and making it more difficult for people to do something like this again.
More accountable.
Yeah.
Leopold will also serve 5 years extended supervision after his time in prison.
The Wisconsin National Guard is still hard at work in the northern part of the state cleaning up after the storm. They are actively working in Langlade, Polk, and Barron counties. Wisconsin Emergency Management says it will likely be months before all the damage is cleared. As for the official damage estimate, that continues to fluctuate since many counties haven't fully reported their damage just yet. And getting a look out at our forecast right now, it was another gorgeous day in Madison. We have a few more of those days coming. Meteorologist Dana Fulton has our first alert forecast from the Weather Center. Dana?
Thankfully, we're in a bit of a pattern that's quite pleasant for us right now. Looking at our Doppler radar, we don't have anything new moving in, not just overnight, but for the next several days. That Doppler track is going to stay nice and quiet. Temperatures overnight will drop quite a bit. We'll be right now at about 63 in Madison and in the Dells, 62 Boscobel, and about 67 in Platteville, with a light breeze coming through from the northeast. Should stay pretty calm in the single digits overnight. We'll start the day off in the mid to upper 50s. Again, sunshine expected for your Thursday, and afternoon highs close to average with not much humidity to factor in. A lot of good news for the rest of the week. We'll take a closer look at what's ahead for your weekend in just a few minutes.
A Milwaukee police officer and 2 children were injured overnight in a high-speed chase. The officer was chasing a vehicle they believed was involved in a robbery when the driver crashed into a parked car. That crash pushed the parked car onto the sidewalk where a 7-year-old boy and a 9-year-old boy were playing. Both boys were hurt but will survive. According to police, when the officer got out of his car, he was then hit by another responding officer. 2 people were taken into custody. In northern Wisconsin, police say a toddler has been flown to the hospital after being left in a car for 10 hours. First responders in Schofield were dispatched to the home on Sunday. They say the child had been in the car from 2 a.m. until noon the next day. The toddler was airlifted to the hospital after suffering from extreme exhaustion. Social Services is looking into the situation with police.
More local news now as people living in Madison could soon see new cell towers and antennas as soon as this week. Carriers like Verizon and AT&T are working to increase internet speed and upgrade phone service to 5G networks. Most people opposed to the new cell towers say they expose people to health hazards, but engineers with the city say that they have to meet health codes and FCC standards in order to even be installed. We do have more information from the city on these towers and how they are regulated on channel3000.com's homepage. The State Department of Transportation is developing long-term detours in Columbia County after the underside of a bridge was damaged by some heavy machinery. The Sheriff's Department says a semi hauling a large piece of equipment along Highway 22 was too tall and hit all 5 support beams on that bridge. No injuries were reported, but the roads will be closed for some time. It was a contentious display in Michigan tonight as another group of Democratic presidential hopefuls made their cases to voters. The majority of candidates went after the current frontrunner, that being former Vice President Joe Biden. Tonight's candidates took on health care, immigration, and the racial divide, among other topics. 10 other Democrats took the stage last night.
A conservative group is challenging Governor Evers' veto power. The conservative law firm Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty is filing a lawsuit challenging certain partial vetoes that Governor Tony Evers made in the state budget. The governor says it's another way conservatives are trying to limit his power following his victory over Scott Walker last year. The U.S. Senate passed bipartisan legislation today to designate a post office in Sun Prairie in honor of fallen fire captain Corey Barr. It's located on Linnerud Drive near Misty Meadow Park. Barr died last July while responding to a gas leak downtown. Senators Tammy Baldwin and Ron Johnson introduced the legislation in April. A historic Milwaukee church devastated by a fire last spring moves one step forward in the restoration process today. The final steel truss was lifted and installed at Trinity Lutheran Church, clearing the way for crews to finish putting on the new roof. The main trusses started going up in early June. Church leaders say they hope the project will be complete in 3 years. Believe it or not, there's 30 days until the start of Badger football.
That is hard to believe. And tonight, fans are flocking to Camp Randall Stadium for Family Fun Night. Players and coaches were there to greet fans and, of course, sign some autographs. And, you know, who else but Bucky was there, too, giving out some high fives, some little baby boops there. Kids also got a chance to test out their skills in a number of drills. The first football game of the season is Friday, August 30th, when the Badgers take on the University of South Florida Bulls in Tampa. Still ahead, the U.S. Navy, that is conducting a search and rescue operation after one of its planes crashed in the California desert.
Plus, a fire at a massive Exxon plant in Texas is finally contained after burning for hours. We'll have an update straight ahead.
Welcome back. For the first time in more than a decade, the Federal Reserve has lowered interest rates. Policymakers voted in favor of a small cut in the federal funds rate. Interest rates, which do affect the cost of borrowing for credit cards and mortgages, are now set to hover around 2% to 2.25%. We are waiting to learn more about a pilot after a Navy fighter jet crashed in the California desert today. According to a tweet from the U.S. Naval Air Forces, the F-18 Super Hornet went down during a routine training exercise right around 9:50 this morning. The tweet also says search and rescue efforts are underway.
An airline pilot in Minnesota is under arrest after reportedly showing up to work drunk. Officials say Gabriel Schroeder was taken off a fully boarded Delta Airlines flight at Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport yesterday. He allegedly had a container of alcohol in his possession. He will not face any formal charges, at least until toxicology tests are completed, which could take up to a week. A fire at a massive Exxon plant in Bayton, Texas, is now contained after burning for several hours. Residents were urged to shelter in place after an explosion and fire broke out this morning. Officials said 66 employees and contractors were examined at a health clinic, with some receiving first aid. All were released. The company is now conducting air quality monitoring at the site and fence line and says it is cooperating with regulatory agencies. 4 people were hurt when a house exploded this afternoon in Pennsylvania. This video shows just how destructive that blast was. It happened in Washington County, leveling the house to rubble and damaging several homes nearby. The conditions of the injured people have not been released, and officials have not said what caused the blast.
There's some sad news for music lovers tonight. Woodstock 50 is officially canceled. Organizers announced today that the Troubled Festival will not take place next month. The 3-day event was originally scheduled for August 16th through 18th, but last week the festival was moved from New York to Maryland, and subsequently 3 major acts, including Jay-Z, announced that they would not perform. I tell you what, though, if you want outdoor music festival or outdoor anything weather, stay here. This gal right here.
Yeah. Things are looking pretty good for us. No, we're in a great pattern right now. It just seems like there's so many outdoor events going on. So many people trying to get their summer fix still in while it's still pleasant. And weather is cooperating with us right now. That's the good news. Looking at our Doppler track, things have been quiet all day long, and now things are going to stay quiet overnight. It was a nice sunny afternoon that helped us hit 80 degrees in Madison. It was close enough to average, just a degree shy. We did start the day off, though, in a bit of a cool spot in the low 50s for our overnight lows. It should have been in the low 60s. So there were some moments early this morning if you had just the right breeze. It's just a little cool outside. I'm not complaining, though. High pressure for us just to the northeast of Wisconsin. It's starting to ridge on through the Midwest, keeping most of us pretty quiet tonight. A cold front is driving some really strong showers and thunderstorms into the Atlantic coast and New England area. We're going to stay quiet overnight and for your Thursday and Friday. It's not until we get towards the end of Saturday that we actually have a little bit of a chance to see a few showers slide on through. Right now we're at 63 in Madison, 69 in La Crosse, and about 64 in Milwaukee. Compared to this time yesterday, it is just a degree or 2 warmer, but a pretty similar spot for us overnight. Our dew point's also in a similar spot, close to 60 in the upper 50s for most of the area, so it just feels pleasant outside. We're going to have a nice start to tomorrow. Our temperatures are falling into the 50s for overnight lows. We are mostly sunny throughout the day on Thursday, planning on a calm breeze for Thursday. By Friday, we're still in the 50s early in the morning, but in the afternoon, we'll be in the mid to low 80s for afternoon highs, and we may see a few showers creep into the very northern edge of the state. That rain chance will slowly sink south, and by late in the day on Saturday, we have the slight chance for some showers and thunderstorms to develop again later on in the day. It's not looking like a major rain accumulation event, though, just a slight chance for some isolated showers and storms. Overnight low temperatures will be in the upper 50s, so just a little below average, but the afternoon should be right at seasonal. A nice little breeze for us coming from the southeast for most of the area for tomorrow. By Friday morning, we're still mostly clear, and in the afternoon, expect a mostly sunny sky. So it'll be a nice end to the work week. And as we branch out and look at that 8 to 14 day forecast, it does seem like our temperature trend is going to continue to hover just at, or likely maybe even a little below average, which is kind of consistent with what we're looking at for the middle and end of next week. We aren't expecting any heat waves to roll on through. Plan on an overnight low of about 57 in Madison, mostly clear skies and very comfortable start to the day tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon highs will be in the low 80s with a mostly sunny sky. and continued very seasonal outside. Again, the breeze coming from the southeast tomorrow, but it is going to stay very light and in the single digits for the afternoon and evening. We'll be in the low 80s on Thursday, mid to low 80s on Friday, and then staying in the mid 80s through the weekend. A little bit of an increase with our humidity for the weekend as we have more moisture march in. A slight chance for some showers and thunderstorms late Saturday, but Sunday right now looks dry. A break between the slight chance and then a better chance for some rain to come through on Monday. Still not expecting a lot of rain, but we may see a few thunderstorms Monday. Behind that system, our temperatures next week for the middle of the week look to be hovering pretty close to average for us, so we aren't expecting any more big heat waves as we head into August, and there's a lot of sun in that 10-day. That's the good news.
Easy does it. Liking that.
Keep it calm and quiet.
All right. Thank you.
We are hoping the Badger football season is as picture perfect as that forecast. We'll hear from Paul Christ on the eve of camp next up in sports.
The Major League Baseball trading deadline has come and gone, and the Brewers made some deals, but nothing that's going to knock your socks off. A lot of Brewer fans wanted them to get Madison Bumgarner from the Giants. Well, the Brewers did get a left-handed pitcher, but not one named Bumgarner. It's Drew Pomeranz. This year, he's struggled as a starter. He's been relegated to the bullpen, which is where Brewers GM David Stern says Pomeranz will be used by Milwaukee. They also got pitcher Ray Black from the Giants. He can throw over 100 miles an hour. but the Brewers gave up the 4th-ranked prospect in their system, shortstop Mauricio Dubon, to the Giants. Brewers also traded Jesus Aguilar to the Tampa Bay Rays for right-handed pitcher Jake Faria. Aguilar was an all-star for the Brewers in 2018, but this season hitting only .225 with 8 homers. Faria has pitched 10 innings in the majors for the Rays this season. Now, the Brewers are playing Game 2 of their series in Oakland tonight. They've been looking to get their offense going lately. Well, tonight it takes 2 pitches. Lorenzo Cain with a no-doubter. Home run off Brett Anderson. New guy Jordan Lyles is pitching well. 5th inning, Brewers 3, A's 1. In St. Louis, Cubs 2, Cardinals nothing in the 9th. Yesterday, the Badger men's basketball program announced Howard Moore wouldn't be coaching this season as he recovers from his car accident. Today, they announced Orlando Tucker will take over for Howard Moore this season. Tucker is Wisconsin's all-time leading scorer in men's basketball. He's been the UW's director of student-athlete engagement the last year and a half. Tucker says he never wanted to join the Wisconsin coaching staff under circumstances like this, but Tucker says he owes it to Moore to step in and help. About halfway through the Packers' practice in Green Bay today, defensive back Josh Jones laid a big hit on running back Trey Carson. Jones and Carson got into a little fight. Head coach Matt LaFleur kicked Jones out of practice because you're not supposed to hit your own guys like that.
You know, that's not what we want to be about. We've got to take care of our teammates. We are a team. We need everybody, and so that's just kind of how we operate. I don't want to tackle. We're in a thud situation because it's one thing if a guy knows he's about to get tackled. It's another thing when a guy gets tackled and he's not necessarily expecting it. I think that leads to injuries.
Badger football season is here. Tomorrow, the first day of practice for fall camp with the season opener less than a month away now. Today was Team Picture Day. Last year, the Badgers won the Pinstripe Bowl, but an 8-5 record and giving up Paul Bunyan's axe made last season a little annoying. They'll try to change that this season.
There's a lot to be learned from every year, and last year certainly was one of them. And you know, it's up for us to answer with our actions, not with words. You know, was it a blip? Wasn't it? Right? We got to go play the games.
And forward Madison FC has an afternoon matinee in Toronto this afternoon. It was worth the trip. Don Smart continues his MVP season. What a great pass to Paolo Jr., who knows how to finish. Jr. scores twice. Flamingo's in playoff position after a 4-1 win in Toronto this afternoon. And we'll be right back.
Coming up in the second half, Toronto overall has been a second.
Dana, just keep up the great work.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're delivering more sunshine and nice weather for us. We're ending July, of course, today on a good note. Temperatures hitting 80 this afternoon with sunshine. Tomorrow, plan on almost a copy, paste, repeat kind of day. Sunshine back towards 80 degrees for afternoon highs. By Friday, we're still mostly sunny in the low 80s. Saturday and Sunday will be just a little warmer and slightly more humid as we have some more moisture moving on in. A slight chance for some showers and thunderstorms late on Saturday. Still looking at partly sunny skies for both days. Mid-80s stretching into Monday with another system coming in, bringing a better chance for rain, but then we cool down, as you can see, for the middle of the week, back towards mostly sunny skies also along with that.
I don't think anybody's going to complain about this. All right, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Do something good, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.